Was this the best MLS playoffs you've seen ever? Just in terms of twists and turns?
I mean, the thing is, I feel like every year there's honestly a couple of these results. Like the MLS playoffs, the top-seeded teams don't always make it all the way to MLS Cup. That's how much parity there is. It's pretty rare, actually, that you see the Shield winner go to Cup. You can have years like Seattle had in 16 where you play really bad for a lot of the year. You get hot in the playoffs. You take down teams that are seeded higher than you. So even with that said, though, this was crazy.
Yeah.
This was crazy. I did not expect Columbus and Inter Miami to already be out of it before we even get to the semifinals. I mean, I didn't call it. Like, our brackets did not have that.
I mean, my pick is still safe to win the whole thing, but my runner-up Columbus is out. So our brackets are a little chalked. But
I mean, mine is ultra chalked. In fact, a lot of my takes are chalked. I had been telling everyone that Inter Miami was going to easily waltz to this MLS Cup, and they did not. So my take on that obviously didn't pan out, but I'm okay with it because this was really funny, and I think that's a good segue into let's talk about this Inter Miami game or the series against Atlanta United, and then let's talk about just the state of their team after that defeat and their future with the news that Tata Martino is out, which that came out today. I did not see that coming at all. If you told me before the playoffs that they were going to lose in the first round to Atlanta United, I would have been surprised, but I'd be like, it's MLS. Like, that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. But if you told me Tata was not going to be their coach next year after being a Coach of the Year finalist and guiding them to the points record, that's
shocking.
That is a shocker. So let's first talk about what happened to Inter Miami, which is they went into the playoffs this year having just sent the MLS points record. They have the greatest player who has ever played the sport as the centerpiece of their team, face of the club, face of the league right now. They have three of his buddies from Barcelona who are three of the best players of all time at their respective positions in their own right. And they ran over the entire league, set the points record, got to the playoffs, and lost to Atlanta United. And this is not single elimination. This is a best of 3 series. So they played Atlanta United 3 times and they lost a best of 3. Dax McCarty and Brad Guzan were too much for Lionel Messi. And I guess that's the first thing I wanted to say about this, which is that, we as MLS fans and sickos, we have to deal with a lot of talking to people who talk negatively about the quality of the league. MLS sucks.
Retirement league.
It's a retirement league. It's a bot league. All these players just come over there at the end of their careers because it's easy, right?
Go play real football.
Yeah. All right. That's, you have an Inter Miami team who I've kind of stopped caring about that narrative. I'm plenty secure in the fact that MLS is a decently high quality league with awesome players, awesome highlights every week. It's a top flight league, very talented players all up and down it. There's no point in trying to argue with people who don't acknowledge it as a credible league anymore. However, I do think it's funny that you can have a team as loaded as Inter Miami come across Atlanta United. They couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
The number 9 seed that got in on the last day of the season.
Whose fans didn't even want them to be there.
We talked about it before the playoffs. Their fans didn't even want them to be in the playoffs. They're coached right now by a guy who played for Orlando City in the USL and has been an Atlanta United assistant for the past few years. And he just takes over as coach whenever they're bad enough that they fire their current coach.
He is kind of like the Brian Schmetzer of
And Garth is in the same. Okay. This is a tangent. This is a tangent.
We're inside of 3 tangents, this is Lobbing Scorchers.
MLS Inception take. They should just hire Valentino.
I agree.
They should really not bring in these managers of the Gabriel Heinze, Frank de Boer. They've tried that. Literally ride the vibes.
Yeah.
Go with Valentino. He has the Schmetzer 16 thing going right now. And I think Garth is smart enough to understand this. So they should hire Rob Valentino. I believe that. But Inter Miami, like I said, them losing to Atlanta United, that would be one thing. But then it came out today that Tata Martino their head coach is out for, as of this recording, all I've seen is that it's for personal reasons, which could mean anything.
Yeah.
It could mean that he's burned out to there's something going on in his life away from the game.
Or that Messi did not want him coaching anymore.
But see, that I find that hard to believe.
Okay, are you here for a conspiracy theory?
All right,
Are you here for a galaxy brain internet take?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is the former Barcelona squad. We are rebuilding the best era of Barcelona football. So who better to add to the team than Xavi? He is out at Barcelona. He is out at Barcelona. He was their coach. He is now out. He has been relieved of his duties. Who better to be the next coach? Messi said, yeah, sorry, Tata. You're a bum. Get out of here. I'll pay out your salary. MLS said, whatever you want, King. He's gone. Beckham's happy to keep him happy. And Xavi, maybe the new coach? More Barcelona juice? I don't know. What do you think? Because he was the batteries of Messi, man.
No, you're right. You're right. And I hadn't thought of that. And I think that's actually a good shout. I don't know about the paying off Tata part of the take. That's the galaxy brain part of it. But as far as him being the Tata's replacement, I think you might actually be onto something with that, with the timing of his exit from Barcelona. I still did not think that was going to happen. Like I said, Tata was a Coach of the Year finalist this year.
He's going to win. Widely, probably.
It could be him. It could be Wilfred Nancy. It's going to be one of the two.
It shouldn't be Wilfred Nancy.
But it would be pretty funny if Tata got Coach of the Year after it's announced that he is leaving the team.
Yeah.
But it kind of does. It makes you think about the exact future of Inter Miami, because as dominant as they looked this year, let's take a step back. Let's talk about what happened to them in this series. How did they lose to Atlanta United? And it's really not that complicated. Their defense is so fucking bad, dude.
It's so bad.
They're one of the easiest teams to play through in the league. And my contention all year, and this is where I was wrong about what happened in this series, my contention all year has been, their defense is that bad. I understand that. I never argued against that. But I thought that their offense at its highest gear, which every time the Barca boys played and they were at their full capacity, they looked unstoppable in attack to the point where it doesn't matter if they ship 2 or 3 goals because they're going to score 4 or 5.
Yeah, they did the bit as we called it
all year. The bit was they would give up the first 1 or 2 goals of a game. Everyone would go, "Oh, Inter Miami's defense is so bad. They're not going to win. They're losing to be like Toronto FC or something. How are they down 2-0 to Toronto FC?" And then Messi turns it up. They score 3 or 4 goals in 10 minutes, and the game's over.
Yeah,
and they did that countless times this year. I think what they found is that when they got in the playoffs, it caught up to them the fact that they don't defend at all. Like their backline and honestly their midfield, even with Busquets, was too easy to play through all year. Even against these inferior teams, those teams would have their chances and they would score their goals on this Miami team. It caught up to them, and I think what it shows is that when you front load a team like this with just it can be as good an attack as you want. It can be literally be built around Lionel Messi himself.
They have a FIFA squad, like an EAFC video game squad.
Yeah, exactly. But if you don't defend, you can always get beat by anybody.
Yeah.
And the fact that we just saw the team that set the MLS points record lose to a 9 seed Atlanta United, I think that shows that.
Yeah. It's been to be fair too, this is the perfect opportunity for a team like Atlanta to come in and beat up on an Inter Miami. They've played a lot of games. They are expecting to win, and Atlanta United kind of know what the deal is. They had beaten Inter Miami before. They knew, listen, we got to score as much as we can, and we just got to do the dumbest possible shit on defense and stop them. Whatever we can do. And Brad Guzan.
I forgot to mention it, but yeah.
Let's jump into Brad Guzan, 49, 85 years old, looking like the best goalkeeper of all time out there.
Brad Guzan has been playing this game. I believe he started in late 1960s was his rookie year playing
They used to
professional
call him
soccer.
Pop.
He
Pop Guzan.
But he was out of his mind, and honestly, this whole series made me respect Brad Guzan. Like I never had like a strong feeling on Brad Guzan one way or the other. I have a lot of respect for Brad Guzan after this series. The way he went at it with Suarez was hilarious and great broadcast television, but also it was just badass. Like Suarez, I think everyone who follows the game knows that he is one of the craziest guys out there on the field. That like anyone who's played against him will tell you this.
Yeah,
he is a maniac out there. He's had multiple like instances in his career where he's literally bitten the opposing competition.
We all get hungry sometimes.
Brad Guzan, Brad Guzan like knows full well who he was going up against, and he did not back down a millimeter. And not only did he not back down, but he was talking shit to Suarez relentlessly. They were just going at it. It was like watching two guys at an AARP meeting, like the two old guys, just like going at it.
It was senior
citizen on senior citizen conflict. But
it was the local
Brad
school
Guzan
board
was
meeting,
talking shit to him, and then after the Messi goal, the Inter Miami guys were.
They shoved him into the net.
They shoved him into the net, and Brad Guzan he didn't back down in that moment. Leo Campana and Suarez were talking trash to him and pushing him. He didn't give a fuck.
No.
He was drawn right back at Suarez, who is one of the craziest soccer players of all time when he's out on that field. So that was just great to watch in this series.
Yeah, him getting shoved into that net and then just like pushing himself back out like immediately, like using the force of the shove to like come back out and get in Suarez's face, but also having the poise to not like swing at Suarez.
Yes.
Incredible content. I mean, this series, whether or not that this is the best playoffs that MLS has ever seen, this series will go down as one of the most entertaining and just content-filled like stories of the playoffs. Definitely this year, if not in the entire history of the league.